Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. I am joined alongside Mr. Endo Mills. Of course, Sin always gets to miss the really fun episodes, as of course, due to his schedule, he has to alternate every Tuesday. But Endo and I are here to talk about everything in the world of hockey, the good, the bad, a lot more bad than we'd hope as of late, but the bad. But to start off the show, Endo, how are you doing, buddy?
I prepared myself for this show. That's all I will say. And I'm optimistic about the future. That just all of the future, not pertaining to anything. Just all of the future.
Fair enough. Now, we do have business to attend to, and then it will be a kind of a hard turn to our main talking point today. But of course, I do have to mention to you guys that this podcast is brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Of course, you can use code Tougie there for 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping. And as well, our friends at Thrive Fantasy still have an offer out for all of you guys. You can click the link in the description, or if you go and sign up at Thrive Fantasy, use code Tougie, you get a lovely little offer where, of course, they'll match the dollar amount up to your first $100 deposited there. Thrive Fantasy, the top place, of course, for prop bets. So go check that out if you haven't already. And again, a big thank you to both of those, to both of those brands, of course, for working with us. Now, like I said, it's a sharp, harsh turn. We try to start off some shows in a positive way. If you've listened to the show, if you've watched the show, I think you know that we like to have fun here. At the end of the day. That's a reason why I brought Endo and Sin onto this show. At the end of the day, we are just three absolute goofs who happen to like the same things for the most part. But there really aren't any other topics that we could kick off this show with. Viewer questions wouldn't be right. The day by day wouldn't be right. We need to talk about what happened over the weekend. Obviously, just a not all that long, just a couple of days after the incident involving Boko Amama, of course, and the AHL player Christoph Hrabik being suspended for 30 games. There was another incident in the ECHL, and I'll say this, for this show, I think the easy thing to do would be to just throw it to Endo. Have Endo speak on it. Why would I do that, Endo? Well, again, because you are a black man. And at the end of the day, I feel like, as I think a lot of people in my position are like, hey, this is not my place to speak. But as we've seen so many people say, it's not just up to you as a black man to speak on this issue. There is also the responsibility for someone like me to be like, hey, I'm willing to say this is ridiculous, this needs to change. So I will recap the incident. I will give my thoughts on the incident, how I viewed it originally, how I view it now, and you feel free to interrupt me at any possible time that you want, because admittedly I am in that spot where I'm like, I do feel like it's more important to hear your side of things with this than mine. But at the end of the day, it is our show together. It might be my name there at the front, but there is not this podcast right now without you, without Sin, especially without you. You were the first person to be able to step up and help me keep up this show.
My heart.
I wanted to put that out there. ECHL game between the Jacksonville Icemen and the South Carolina Stingrays, excuse me. From what we know, confrontation in the corner. Jordan Subban was essentially being escorted away by an official from the rest of the players on the ice, while still sharing words with Jacksonville defenseman Jacob Panetta, who then proceeded, at the very least, to gesture/pose towards Jordan Subban, who then turned around for all intents and purposes and beat the brakes off of Panetta.
Yeah.
Anything there? Or should I continue on with the little recap of what happened?
I think that's spot on so far. Yeah, you're good. Okay. I feel like I'm like the checkpoint, you're driving like at those old school games you're going through, like right. Rally racing. It's like, oh, checkpoint. Yeah, you're good. Keep going. Yeah.
So I will say, too, for those of you watching on the video side of things, for some reason today, Endo's webcam is having a freezing issue. We'll try to have him fix that as much as possible, but please bear with us for this episode. We're doing what we have to do.
Yeah, sorry. I think I hit my computer the wrong way. and it's just like it makes me freeze in time.
Fair enough.
I'll have it fixed.
And to go back on that again, I said to you just before we started recording this show as well, this is one of those things, much like the Kyle Beach situation, where I felt it extremely necessary to try and not forget any little aspect of this story. So I have no problem admitting to the people that listen to the show, like I care about this. I want to make sure that we don't forget any talking point, which is why I'm going to bounce the stuff off of Endo, of course. Subban then went to Twitter after the game. He responded to a tweet from the Jacksonville Iceman account, which had mentioned penalties being called after a fight. Jordan Subban stating that Pineda refused to fight after he was caught making monkey gestures towards Subban as Subban was turning around. And then again, you had the fight there as well. I don't think we forgot anything as far as that is concerned in the original tweet from Jordan Subban. That tweet instantly gained traction. For a variety of different reasons. Of course, people sharing the clips of the incident that happened to be captured from those in attendance. And, of course, as well, you had players commenting, particularly Jordan's brother, PK. The next morning, and actually, if anything, rather quickly, at least one of the two Twitter accounts seemingly tied to Jordan Pineda was deleted. The Jacksonville Icemen initially released this statement stating, the Jacksonville Icemen are cooperating with the league review of the incident that occurred last night against South Carolina. As an organization, our fans, partners, and sponsors know our core values, and we intend to make comments and decisions after the completion of the league review. That was their initial statement. Your thoughts?
Man, it's a lot. I'm gonna cut right to how I feel about this whole situation.
Feel free.
I think the one thing that I'm noticing is like this was like it's even hard to talk about like right now, but how do I don't know, like it's like we're having a cake, you don't know where to dive into first, and I think I'm just gonna start. Oh, give me a second. Okay, it's hard to speak. For like all clarification purposes, I have a massive headache, so I'm dealing with that in a certain way, and I may be less responsive. Forgive me, my lord. Okay, so here's how I feel. I think because of certain things being refreshed people's minds in regards to what happened to Boko Imama and this situation, flat off, I think it's amazing that people are willing to stand up to something like this. I think that's the big picture. I think I'm jumping way too ahead right now, but the big picture of all this is that the amount of people who came out in support after this whole weekend, both for Imaba and for Subban, were outstanding. It would, to me, outstanding is an oversight, but I think it should be it should be the norm. People should be calling this stuff out. As for Jordan Subban and his situation, I don't. It's really weird because my brain triggered to after hearing about the incident and him doing the gesture. I was reluctant to take any sort of hearing from any other side of that happens. This is clearly what's happening. Someone saw what happened a few days ago on the ruling that happened last week about this, and they're just repeating it, which I think would be hilarious in that sense. And then you hear at the end of all this, he comes out with a statement saying they had no intention and all this and all that. And however, the one thing that people get confused is that he says that he didn't see any malice in that he did that gesture, but to someone else who's recurring certain things happening around the league, it may be a different league, but they're still the farm system. And
along with that, I'll interject. That is my biggest takeaway from this. Regardless of whether or not you think Jordan Panetta actually did this, or excuse me, Jacob Panetta, of course, regardless of whether or not you think it was just a muscle taunt or it was something outright racist, the way Jordan Subban reacted is completely justified.
Yeah.
Because it's not out of the question that would have been the worst case scenario that Jordan thinks he saw and still may think that he saw. And if he feels that way, he is more than justified to feel that way, because that is the entire point. I think PK ended up saying something pretty much similar in a press conference where I don't think this incident more so was about, I mean, it is, right? It is about whether or not he did or didn't, but it is also about the idea of why would Jordan Subban feel that way and view it that way. And that is because the precedent is there. It's not out of the question that somebody would act like a monkey while taunting a black player. And that is the problem. And thankfully, I feel like that's where the majority of the conversation is right now, is that Jordan Subban isn't wrong for reacting the way he did, but it just shows how far the hockey world has to go, because someone like Jordan Subban feels like that legitimately could have been, and it may have been. Again, that's the really tough thing right now. In a lot of ways, it's he said, she said. And obviously, you know, it's just all intertwined, but I think that's the biggest takeaway for me right now is it is still just a massive problem that someone like Jordan Subban would rightfully react that way, because it's believable.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You summarized it a lot better than I probably could have, because I'm still kind of torn on the situation. It's like, did he do it on purpose? Hopefully not, because that's a shitty thing to do. Like, what? Like,
yeah.
Come on. Then the other part of me is like, he didn't have any intent to it. But then you also said, like, with Jordan, if you feel like it was an attack on him, like that's an issue.
Yeah,
that's it.
Like I said, there's so many different ways, and I was gonna bring this stuff up later, but I think the problem is, and a lot of people defending Panetta are those types of people that, like, that's a big part of the problem, right? Like, you see a lot of the, like, Twitter accounts defending Panetta, and then you check some of the little details about it, and it's like, okay, you're one of those people who, you know, I don't feel comfortable. Like, it almost makes you feel like shitty. It's like, oh, okay, I might possibly share an opinion with that person. Those are the type of people defending Panetta. So it's a tough break for Panetta if he didn't actually do anything, because there are some real shitty people that are using Panetta as essentially a pawn for their ridiculous narratives about fucking cancel culture and all this shit. But we look at certain incidents in the past of, oh, it turns out things weren't exactly what we thought. And 3 major incidents came to mind for me. One is outside of the hockey world. The Johnny Depp situation with Amber Heard, where again, Johnny Depp's reputation was dragged through the fucking mud by Amber Heard, only for us to then find out, oh shit, she was actually the abuser in the situation. He wasn't a saint, but she was the abuser here. Mm-hmm. The Bubba Wallace incident with the noose in the garage, where, and I know, like, I think the last statement Bubba gave on this was, like, still like, hey, that's still a noose, like, what the hell? But it was discovered that tied, you know, rope for a pull door on the garage, that had been there before Bubba Wallace, like way before Bubba Wallace had ever been using that specific garage. So it was there way before. So it's like, okay, well, it maybe wasn't somebody going directly after Bubba Wallace. And then I feel like people forget this. Do you remember what happened with Morgan Riley?
Oh my God, I do remember Morgan Riley.
It took me a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, something happened. So there was the incident where Morgan Riley was yelling, "Rag it," as in rag the puck. But when you yell "rag it," people can hear other things. And people were losing their minds at Morgan Riley, and then it turns out, no, he just said "rag it."
Yeah.
And because of that, there is the possibility, of course, that this was just Pineda actually doing the flexing thing. Maybe it still wasn't. I'm not saying that to say Jordan Subban is wrong. And as we've both said, again, there is a reason why Jordan Subban could view that gesture a certain way, and it's because that precedent's there. So you have that complicating things. But those incidents don't invalidate the way that the Subans feel. They don't invalidate the way that any, for lack of a better term, that any non-white player feels when they play the sport of hockey. Like a little bit later on, I was going to mention him for the Vancouver Canucks, but the idea of Yushiro Hirano becoming the first Japanese-born player to score a goal in the AHL for the Abbotsford Canucks. That guy, like, again, like, you could... It's one of those things where I don't know what situation you would put yourself in as to where you could make an offensive gesture towards somebody of Asian descent. But you think someone like Hirano playing in North America is not a little bit more weary? Of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? And it's because that precedent is there and still very much a part of the sport. Like, it's not a part of the sport, but it exists within it. So it makes it just so tough to get to the other Jacksonville statement, because they released this 2 hours after that first post, which I thought was a brutal first post. And as is often the case, I feel like with brands, their first post ends up being kind of shit.
Oh, yeah.
But their second statement was, quote, "To be clear, our core values as an ownership group include one love and zero tolerance for racism or any other forms of hate against any group whatsoever. The platform that is the Jacksonville Icemen is one that is more than just about hockey to us as a group. It's about using this platform to spread not only love for hockey, but our love for the community and for each other. Though the investigation and review are ongoing at the league level," keep in mind, again, their first statement said they were waiting for the review. This statement says, "Though it's still ongoing, the Icemen will be releasing the player involved effective immediately, and will continue our mission of sharing our love of community and hockey. On behalf of the entire Iceman organization, we apologize to anyone who was offended and look forward to beginning the process of healing together as one. Thank you, Andy Kaufman, Iceman CEO."
That is like the most damage control-esque post I've seen from any professional or minor league association. That shows that they really do care, or that they have a really good person writing for their PR team. I believe that they made the right call here after that. Brands make mistakes, companies make mistakes. Obviously, people do hold them more accountable for stuff because they're a conglomerate and all that. But they made the right call. The one thing that I'm concerned about as well with the situation for Pineda is whether or not he did this or had this happen to him, or had it be true that he had a racial intent, or it was just a simple tough guy gesture. My camera froze again. I apologize. The best way to give me a second. The best way, I think, not the best way. God, sorry, it's just my words getting twisted with all this.
I mean, I feel the same way in that I'm trying to make sure, like, I don't misspeak.
Yeah.
Shout out, by the way, to the people. Can I say this at the very least? The people criticizing Pineda in terms of the video that he released where he was clearly reading off of something. If I was in his position, which I will never be, but if I was in his position and innocent, I would also want to make sure I didn't miss a single point of any like statement in which I'm trying to defend myself. Now, of course, if he did it, then, you know, hey, he looks like a horrible person no matter what.
It was actually what I was trying to talk about too. Because that was probably the best way to handle a situation after with that statement. But the one thing that the big issue here is, regardless or not he did or didn't use the gesture, he's got a stain on his life.
Oh yeah, he's
100%. Like because of this, he he's obviously still under investigation. And if they find nothing, he may be eligible to play in the league again. But what team's going to want to take that guy? I mean, there are teams that have done that before with certain people that we've talked about, and like Mitch Miller and all those terrible people who are still playing hockey. Like that's man.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's
like
tough.
I said, it's tough.
It's unfortunate.
And then obviously, like within the incident too, right? Like there's so much to discuss that people are trying to just dissect every bit of what happened. From were the crowd also yelling racial obscenities at Jordan Subban in the camera footage that was taken? I've heard people say yes. I could only personally hear stuff along the lines of, beat his ass, but yeah, that could also happen. And is again also part of the problem. There is the reaction to the fight that a lot of people are pointing out in terms of a lack of his teammates, as in Panetta's, stepping up to defend him on the ice in that moment. That can also be countered by saying, well, if these guys didn't see it and they hear something happened, are they going to jump in to defend the guy? But at the same time, then people argue, well, if they thought it was out of Panetta's character that he would have said something like that, they probably would have jumped in because that's not in his character. It's an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess.
Yeah.
We still don't really know what the full fallout from this is going to be. From Panetta's standpoint, he goes from a guy that, let's be honest, 99% of hockey fans have never heard of. Period. Like, there are not too many hockey fans outside of who might have been watching him in Jacksonville or at Colgate when he went to college there. There weren't too many people watching him that were overly aware of a 26-year-old, soon-to-be 27-year-old. Yeah, happy birthday, by the way. His birthday's tomorrow, according to Elite Prospects. Wow. There aren't too many people that would have known him before this, and now, even if it comes out that he did not say this, doesn't matter. You hear that name as a hockey fan, you were around in this moment, he's only going to be associated with one thing. And if he didn't do this, that sucks. It does. He did allude towards the fact in the video that even though his defense is that it was the tough guy thing, he acknowledged at least how it could be viewed and admitted his fault there. Like I said, for how people are walking into this, you're going to view it one way or another. There are some people who might be willing to hear him out and say, okay, those points make sense. And then there are going to be other people I know that are just like, nope, he's lying, bullshitting, fuck him.
Yeah. Like it's
for Jordan
tough.
Subban.
It's tough.
Yeah. For Jordan Subban, the Subbans in general, again, the way that they view this, the way that they feel, still, again, it's the biggest point I can make of this, and my biggest takeaway is they are completely valid in the way that they feel. Whether or not Panetta meant it as a racial taunt or not, I will keep hammering home that point that this is something that is believable. As a black player, it is not out of the question that you could be racially taunted on the ice. And that needs to fucking change, obviously. For as many debates as we get into on Twitter, for as much as people will read and react to Andrew Shaw's defense of his cousin in Panetta, like, however this conversation goes, whatever actually happened here, for the love of God, change needs to be made. It all comes back to that same conversation of, again, Boko Amama, for the second time in 2 years, was racially taunted on the ice. Was anybody surprised? That's the problem. Jordan Subban, felt as though, and perhaps rightfully so, and I keep saying that because, man, I don't fucking know. It certainly looks one way, the defense is believable, but I'm not going to sit here and call Jordan Subban a liar. It's pretty much how I'm trying to voice this, right? Like,
yeah,
it just feels like we've had this conversation so many times,
like,
man.
There are too many convincing things on both sides. You have his statement afterwards saying that he didn't intend to do that whatsoever, but he sees how he could be wrong, which is a big component of actually admitting that you may have done something. It's like, I have done this, but maybe to you this might have been offensive, and then I'm sorry. That's being an adult. That's being human than anything else, is admitting a possible fault, even if you don't think you're in the wrong, especially for something like this. And like, either way, no one is coming out of this situation like almost unscathed. Jordan Subban, if it's false, Jordan Subban is then deemed the liar and the Subbans and all this crap, whatever. If it's deemed true, Panetta's like career, which could have probably rebounded afterwards, maybe, is tarnished. It's unfortunate. I wish like that this wouldn't be an issue at all if this didn't happen back on the 12th, or even could put a bigger, fresher opinion in people's minds. And that's what gets confusing, because you're hot on the heels of one situation, and then something like this happens that could be perceived as something that also happened in that situation. And I think that's where it just gets messy. And I think that's the big issue as well, too.
I think we could continue this conversation for the entire show, right? I mean, just surrounding the incident itself, there's so many different aspects of this to look at, depending on how you feel about this, how you view this, what happened, what didn't happen. That is the only thing I can continue to emphasize, is just the fact that your biggest takeaway, and I implore anybody listening to this, your biggest takeaway shouldn't necessarily be whether or not Jordan Subban potentially misread the situation. There is a chance. Jacob Panetta certainly at the best misread the situation and doing something that could be misconstrued as racist. At worst, the guy doesn't deserve to play professional hockey again, ever. Your takeaway from this should be, why would Jordan Subban feel that way? And like I said, it's believable. And I obviously here, do I have much power to change the hockey world and hockey culture in general? No. But at the very least, I feel like the least we can do for whatever platform I have been granted to have within the hockey, YouTube, Twitch space, I'm at least going to share that opinion that if you view this and view Jordan Subban in a negative light, you need to do a little bit of reflection. And I gotta be honest, you're on the wrong side of it. Like I said, it's just, it's so incredibly frustrating. It goes, like, just the idea that in 2022, we need to say that people playing hockey should be able to do so without being worried that they're going to be insulted for the color of their skin, race, religion, so on and so forth. It really is one of those things, right? Where we just say, when does it change? And I obviously don't have the exact answer here, but it's just so frustrating. And no, I don't know how to pivot out of this. I will leave the last word to you. Again, I wish Sin was here as well to give his thoughts on this. But I hope, like, my final thought on this is, I hope, obviously, that some good can come of this. I doubt it will be the last time, but I hope it is the last time that someone like Jordan Subban ever has to feel like they're being attacked. Period.
Yeah. The segue out of this into something a little more positive. Recently, today actually, a good friend of myself and Tougies, Rahil, at an angry brown guy on Twitter, which actually relates to the story.
TikTok
Yeah,
famous.
TikTok famous. He received a message today from someone on Discord. Obviously, it's anonymous. It says, and he's brown. He is of Pakistani descent. And I've been having a big stink on Twitter for the past year about how to make a community better and how to get rid of certain aspects of it and just allow for more diversity and unity inside of it, both on a competitive sake, on a casual sake, and on like I'm gonna say like on a racial state, if that makes sense. I'm not saying to give us like a free boost. I'm saying to look at your community, look what people could be representatives for that small community that they could bring in as well. It's diversity, it's marketing, it's growing the game and making hockey for everybody. And I believe Kevin Weeks actually quoted that and saying that hockey is for everybody. It isn't. It has
There was a couple of people attacking that tagline for the NHL, and rightfully so.
It makes sense because like it is for everyone. Everyone should have the right to play hockey. But there's an issue within organized sports, and especially hockey, especially here in Canada and North America, within certain aspects, just not letting it be for everybody. And we need to make it be better for everybody, both in the real state with enjoying hockey in real life, and as well as the virtual state with EA NHL 2K if that ever comes back, but just creating more opportunities for people and representation, because it just helps grow it and it helps get people more eyes on the game. If everyone's familiar with Saphir, I believe Saphir's story is that like when he was younger, his parents moved him from like his home. It was like during some sort of it was like some crazy shit was going on over there. And then they immigrated there to here and then discovered hockey through NHL. There are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who immigrate to Canada looking for a better life and don't know how to get into hockey or how to get into certain things that we have here. And they want to, become Canadian. They want to enrich themselves in the culture. And NHL could be one of the shown as with Saphir. It's shown that it's the greatest way to get someone in. It's because it's a community that's well knit and everything whatsoever. And when you play, no one knows about what color you are, where you're from, or whatever happened to you when you were in grade 6. Like no one knows that when you play online. And you develop these friendships and you develop these relationships, and it could help grow not only just them and become more enriched in the culture and understand other things, but it could also help them become unified. And then you can have those people be leaders of the community and just show people that, hey, there's someone who looks like me doing this thing. I want to do this thing. And I want to feel comfortable doing it. And I think that's my big takeaway for this whole entire thing.
I think we saw that recently, too, over the weekend with Quentin Byfield. There were moments there, like there was a clip circulating around, of him interacting with somebody in the crowd, in the stands. And it's just, with Saphir as well, I want to mention him. That is Safir, Snipes with a Z or a Z, depending on where you're from. Gold, Saphir Snipes Gold on Twitter and Twitch. Make sure to check him out. It's, like I said, it's a super tough conversation to have. I think we made our point. I don't want to sit here and keep hammering home the same things. It has continued to be a very interesting time on this podcast, right? Like we undergo the change that we underwent at the end of last September. And again, I've been hesitant to speak on it. The best way to sum it up, Deej and I had some creative differences, right? And what we thought was right to talk about on the show and what wasn't. And ever since that split happened, boy howdy have we had some stuff to talk about on the show. It's almost impossible, I think, from a hockey standpoint, to have not had at least one serious conversation about something that could be viewed as a controversial subject since this past October. I mean, again, you look at the Kyle Beach incident, you look at a couple of different race-related incidents that we've had now. It's been a time. It's been a time. But again, like I said, for us here, and I don't want to speak for Endo and Sim, but I do know they feel the same way. Like I said, we have this little bit of a platform. We can't do too much with it. We're not going to solve racism by talking about it on a podcast. But at the very least, if it gets one person who likes what I do that maybe kind of thinks that way, if it gets one person to maybe change their mind, then I will gladly talk about it. To hell with anyone that views this podcast or me negatively because of it, or maybe doesn't want to sponsor the show because of it. It's important to talk about this shit. And again, like it's one of those things where you gotta listen. You gotta listen. When people mention that this shit's going on, you gotta listen. You can't sit there and be shocked when this stuff happens and you're like, I've never heard of this. It's because you're not listening enough, I think, is the best way to sum it up here. We do have a couple of quick notes before we kind of get into our day-by-day and talk about the games themselves. First and foremost, the best way I can think to segue here is with this topic. Endo, did you see the Coachella Valley Firebirds jerseys?
Yes. I actually saw them live on twitch.tv/Endo Millage, where I was editing this guy's video. This was like a week behind. But, I saw them live, and I don't want to say that I did that first, but I did that first when I was when I was messing around with NHL 22. I tried to reveal it on stream because I was just like, yeah, I made like a mock uniform that was kind of similar, but the back numbers were inverted, so it was yellow instead of red. It was still nice, but these are clean. They're cleaner than I don't know. They're cleaner than clean. They're clean.
Honestly, I wasn't sure how I felt about them at first. I do like if you guys look at the jersey, you'll know like they have that little blue stripe at the bottom, which is kind of like, again, what the Seattle jerseys have. I mean, I literally have a Seattle jersey here, at least the sleeve of it. I think it'll be in screen. It's got that little red stripe, so they have the blue stripe to, show like, hey, uniformity. I don't mind it. The logo's going to take some getting used to. Like, the logo kind of looks like a knockoff Pokemon.
It does.
But
I love it.
That's the thing. I love it, though. Exactly. Like, the logo's like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I like it, and it'll be nice to have them in NHL 23, so we don't need the Palm Springs Pineapples or whatever the hell it's automatically set to.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
But that was nice.
Yeah, I hate
it's always
that
nice
so
to
much.
see some new jerseys.
I found out that, I think I was trying to make a franchise run because I figured you and Sin do it well. It must be fun. And for some reason, I couldn't change the backup team. At all. So I had to I don't know how I did it. So I had to I made the team, but it wouldn't let me use that team as the AHL team for some super weird reason. So I had to remake the jerseys inside franchise mode, and it took forever. Those jerseys,
it does take forever to make jerseys. So.
Yeah. Sorry. Oh my God.
Shane Wright scored an incredible goal.
Oh my God.
Over the weekend, so maybe just maybe the rumors of his demise and not being a worthy number 1 overall pick, which he still will be, have been a little bit exaggerated. The Canadian Olympic roster has been announced. Again, we will wait until number 1, all 3 of us are here, but until all the rosters are announced, and we will have our Olympic preview, but some very interesting names on that list, of course. And shout out to Lokomotiv Yaroslavl of the KHL, who terminated Reed Boucher's contract. Good on you, KHL. Good on you. The law won't do anything, but the KHL will.
I was gonna say quick shout out to Joshua Hosang for getting nominated Team Canada for the Olympics. But then you just went straight into Boucher. I was like, can you give me a quick segue? I was hoping. Just give me a 2-second window. Give me but yeah, shout out.
Steamrolled it.
Yeah, you just went right through.
Well, here, we'll talk about people being elected to great things. Josh Hosang on the Canadian Olympic team. David Ortiz is a Baseball Hall of Famer. Suck it.
Oh, yeah.
Barry Bonds should be, though, too. which is bullshit.
Oh, let's have
He
that
cheated.
debate. Oh,
Fucking everybody did. God damn it. Put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame.
just give them their own like section where it's called like the call it Booster Juice and have what is it 129 different locations.
The Barry Bonds Hall, brought to you by Booster Juice.
And it's just Richard Head saying that, doing his the promo for it on repeat.
Oh God.
What a guy.
I mean, hey, I'm excited for Josh Ho-Sang. I'm excited for Landon Ferraro, former Bruin. Ray Ferraro's reaction, his dad on Twitter, was great. That's one of those things, though, I will say, right? Like, as much as people want NHL players to go to the Olympics, I do too. I liked the 2018 Olympics. I did. Like, it was awesome. Russia almost beat the KHL All-Stars for the gold medal. You know, the USA and Canada rosters sucked, but it was kind of fun. And the fact that, someone like Josh Ho-Sang gets to be an Olympian, I think is cool as shit.
Yeah.
And probably the number one reason why he hasn't signed a contract with the Leafs to make sure he could go to the Olympics.
Or the fact that he just doesn't care about playing for the playoffs. Also, I really don't think the Leafs have any cap space to bring him up. Even regardless of like a 1 year, like, 100 mil contract or like just like a legal minimum, they would not have any space for him. They'd make room, but I think he's going to be a black ace for the playoffs. If not,
get someone to take Nick Ritchie's contract.
No one wants his contract. We're idiots.
Yeah, kind of.
We believed in Barb Underhill to recover everybody we grab in. We tried that.
She's not a saint. She's close, but she's not a saint. She can't fix everyone skating, okay?
That's
goddamn.
As we say that, Justin Brazeau is like still in like the he's with the Bruins, I think, right? The Providence Bruins, or
yeah. I think actually he might be with the. Is he with the Providence Bruins or the Maine Mariners?
I think he's in Maine. I know he signed an ECHL with Maine because he was.
So he's played for both. Elite Prospects is showing him on the Providence Bruins right now, where he has 7 points in 13 games. He has 20 points in 18 ECHL games. What a champ!
Yeah. He absolutely killed the ECHL over here with what is it? Newfoundland, the Growlers. Yeah, he was killing it with the Growlers. It's unfortunate that he couldn't make that massive success that he had in OHL to ECHL, then to grow with the Marlies. But I think the Marlies have like the biggest depth pool still. Obviously Leaf bias, but they used to have like the craziest depth pool in like development because many players,
when Carl Grundstrom, Andreas Janssen, and all those guys were winning the Calder Cup.
Yeah, and then we got that was wild. I think, and here's my theory: those guys threw Game 7 away just so they can go win a Calder Cup. Hear me out. I got a big brain, but yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
You know what? I choose to believe it because it's more fun.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. I choose to believe it. So with that, we'll move on to our day by day, kind of breaking down some of the things that have happened in hockey over the past couple of days since our last show. We'll start off with last Friday. The Hurricanes beat the Rangers 6-3. Sebastian Aho, 17 goals on the year. He's a beast. Chris Kreider's 26th, and he would not be done by the end of the weekend. And shout out to Mika Zibanejad with his 15th as well, which is pretty nice. It's going to be a fun episode for people to watch on the video side of things as the webcams keep switching around. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah. I think, quick update, GPU update. I got the GPU. It came in today. I've been freaking out like a small child because it's like, I can finally do stuff. I can play games and have it not crash. And so that might be causing some issues with my PC. With my card, not my card, but the Elgato, whatever. Technical issues. You put one thing in and something else breaks randomly. Also, quick shout out, Brian fucking Boyle, tweener goal. I mean, it's against the Coyotes, but through the legs.
Yeah.
Still got it. That is a man. Like that's a big man. That's a big boy doing a move like that.
Yeah, there are bits of breaking news. We are recording the show later in the day than we normally do. I will mention we'll talk more about it in depth, but there are certain things that have come up on the Twitter timeline where I'm like, we'll save that for next show. We got enough to talk about today. Speaking of which, also on Friday, Pittsburgh beating Columbus 5-2. Sidney Crosby with a hat trick.
Oh yeah.
I think he's got a bright future. That Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
10 goals on the year. Whew.
Sid the kid. I'm telling you. I think the best. I was having a conversation about this the other day, and the best players are the ones who you don't see, like go up the score sheet like almost every day. Like when they go, they hit. When Sidney Crosby like is on the board and he hits those, like he hits. Like the silent guys who get all the work done, beautiful. That's why I think Sid's still in the contention for one of the best in the game, if not almost ever, to go up and lace the skates, because he's still dominant. He's still got it.
I should know too, Boone Jenner, 16th of the year for Columbus, but we'll talk a little bit about them. Their playoff chances are starting to wane a little bit. Dallas beat Detroit 5-4 in overtime. Jason Robertson, I will mention him on every damn show because he won't stop scoring, up to 16 goals on the year. I have a Sagan Dallas jersey. I need to get a new Dallas jersey, and it's going to be a Robertson. Absolutely love this guy. Rupe Hintz is his 17th of the year. For the Red Wings, Robbie Fabry, 11th goal on the year. Not bad. Signed a contract extension this year. Dylan Larkin absolutely destroyed John Klingberg to score his 19th of the year. If anyone missed that highlight, go check it out. And Tyler Bertuzzi, remember when he had like 10 goals in 5 games? Or at least it felt like it. He's up to 19. But the Wings now obviously played over half their games this year. But an interesting one. The Islanders shut out the Coyotes 4-0. Maybe the easiest shutout that Ilya Sorokin will ever have. Because, I mean, come on. Brock Nelson with 2 goals. We'll get into some other games coming up here that have a bit more meat on the bone to talk about. Wild over the Blackhawks. No one's surprised. Ryan Hartman scored 2 goals. He has 18 goals this season. The hell. And then, also on Friday, Spencer Martin between the pipes for the Canucks against the Florida Panthers. Panthers win at 2-1 in a shootout. It took a ridiculous goal from Sasha Barkov to get the win. But again, we've talked about this before. You just get goalies stepping up out of nowhere. It's like, hey, I'm going to be good. Here's Zach Fucale. He's back, and he's finally making his NHL debut, and he has a great performance. Like, goalies are absolutely bizarre, is the only way to put it.
Yeah, and
as a goalie yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I went to go look up Spencer Martin in his career, and I just see Canucks add goalie Spencer Martin to COVID protocol. Can't catch a break.
Fun.
Gets up, gets his chance to play, and then can't catch a break. Oh, man. That's unfortunate. That is something else.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Best wishes to him, of course. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Elite 1C Derek Grant. 2 goals in a game as the Ducks beat the Lightning on Friday. 5-1.
I can't believe he's a first liner. That's ridiculous.
I don't know if he is, but that's always the meme from Ducks fans is Elite 1C. I don't know why. I don't know why that meme became a thing.
Because I believe like
he's fine.
They had him started on the first line, like I think for like a game, and they're like, holy shit, and they just went with it.
And it makes sense. In the final game on Friday, the Blues beat the Kraken 5-0. Shout out every Blues fan who continues to remind me all season long that Ville Husso is legit. I viewed him as the backup goalie where it's like, this guy is not NHL caliber. And this year, Ville Husso has been insane. So thank you, Ville, for trying to make me look foolish. It's not that difficult to do. But it's at the point now where you're starting to see articles written that maybe, just maybe, the Blues should go with Ville Husso over Jordan Binnington. Husso has 13 games played with a 1.88 goals against average and a 9.43 save percentage. Goalies are voodoo, man.
Yeah.
Goalies are voodoo.
It could be like a new set of gear. It could be like the way they tie their shoes.
Oh, I ate an apple this morning instead of an orange, and now I'm Jesus.
Yeah. That's how it is. Like randomly, it's just like, hey, I like stepped on a tack today. I am now like God incarnate in net. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how the best way to explain that we're like super streaky and like inconsistent. Like when you like,
I want
yeah,
the most ridiculous examples from people over what slight thing could have changed that would then make a goalie elite. Oh, I stubbed my left toe instead of my right toe. Now I'm elite.
You want to hear one?
I want the most ridiculous examples.
You want to hear one right now?
Yes, I do.
I
Please.
adjusted my Velcro strap by 0.1 centimeters down, and it gave me more room to move. And I got a shutout against a bunch of like ex-NHLers.
Endo Mills, ladies and gentlemen, sign him. E-Bug, Toronto. E-Bug, make it happen.
David Ayers is too busy maintaining the ice over at Ryerson Rams facilities. It's okay.
Yeah, you got to get someone in there.
Yeah. Hey, let's make it happen.
God. We'll move to Saturday. Sabres beat the Flyers 6-3. 2 goals for Jeff Skinner, up to 16 on the year. Jeff Skinner. Do you know how many goals Jeff Skinner scored last year? When everyone's like, oh my God, he's cooked.
10.
The official number for last season was 7.
Jeffy,
He had 7 goals in 53 games.
Jeffy, my boy, why have you forsaken me?
He had 14 and 59 the year before. And then there was the 40-goal season was 18-19. So, I mean, Jeff Skinner's 40-goal season was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Which means it feels like it was 18 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
But, yeah, good for Jeff Skinner. Recently, he just passed 200 career goals this season.
Wow.
It's on 204. So
there you go.
That Sabres deal, it's not looking as bad.
Yeah.
Tage Thompson, 2 goals, up to 14 on the year. He's been great this season. And then Peyton Krebs, part of the Jack Eichel return, scored his first 2 NHL goals in the same game, which is pretty sweet. And then for the Flyers, 2 goals for Claude Giroux, up to 14 on the year. And number 1 on a lot of people's being moved at the deadline list.
Yeah.
Because the Flyers are, unlike Jeff Skinner, the Flyers are cooked. Absolutely toast. Like, just done.
It's a good team on paper, but, like, they just can't produce. Kind of like your pick with Seattle. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Remind me. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I know I'm never going to live down thinking that Seattle could take the division. I know I'm never going to live it down. It's okay.
You're cut from the podcast? Yep.
Yeah. Oh God, it's like, okay. If I actually brought you on to the show for the reason that some people tried to claim when I first did, you only brought Endo on to be a Jesse Blake ripoff, then right now I would open up Twitter on my phone and say, okay, who's the next black friend in line? But that's not the case.
People actually said
Endo's on the show because Endo's the fucking man.
Oh my God.
He'll call me out on my bullshit.
I'm high as shit right now. Yeah. No, I've had a really bad chronic migraine, so I had I think 1.5 of an edible, and it's hitting. It hit the bead kicked in, and it kicked in a lot faster than I thought it was going to. I'm okay though.
He's good.
Yeah.
That's why the webcam keeps freezing.
Yeah, it's
not, but it's okay. Also want to mention for the Sabres, GM Kevin Adams kind of alluded towards the fact that Owen Power could sign with the team and play after the Olympics and the NCAA playoffs and get a couple games in at the end of the season. I'd be intrigued.
I would not be opposed to that. Your season's already like weird. Just let it happen. Let him play out. Let him play out his dream of making the Chell. After being that, he was number 1 pick, right?
Yeah, he was the number 1 overall pick this past year.
Let's hope this time they can keep a number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, he has 26 points in 24 games for Michigan this year.
Yeah.
Had 5 points in those 2 World Junior games before that was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very intrigued to see what he can do for the Canadian Olympic roster. I'm very excited to watch Owen Power play hockey. I mean, dude, the guy's a freak. Like, he's 19 years old. He's listed on Elite Prospects at 6'6", 214 pounds, which means by the peak of his career, he'll be like 230. It's like he's the freaking next Pronger if he has a big enough mean streak. Like, it's nuts. So very excited to watch what he can do. And Sabres fans, despite being dead last in attendance this year, do have some reason to be excited a little bit down the road. Again, I saw those updated attendance numbers, and again, that Coyotes hate. It's ridiculous. Those narratives, bullshit. I won't stand for them. I won't do it. Also on Saturday, the Bruins beat the Winnipeg Jets 3-2. David Pastrnak scored again, 19th of the year. I do want to mention that every single time the Bruins play a Western Conference team, it's a barn burner, and I absolutely love it. It's the best. Put the Bruins in the West. Make it happen. I'm tired of all these Eastern Conference matchups. Put the Bruins in the West. Give me some new matchups. I'm ready. Give me Minnesota. Give me Nashville. Give me fuel. Give me fire. Give me slice of apple pie. I am ready for these.
That's not because I'm high. That's just funny.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever said on this show.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I should point out, Canada was the, I was looking this up because I was obviously talking about Owen Power being on the Olympic team. Canada was the last team we were waiting for to announce their Olympic roster. So next episode, we're doing the breakdowns. All three of us will be here, and we will look at the Olympic rosters and give our predictions. There's some interesting ones on here. Boy, aren't there. Especially that Team China roster featuring the likes of former Portland Pirate Ethan Warwick. That's right. There's a player for Team China named Ethan. There's also Ryan Sproul, and Jake Chelios is on the Chinese Olympic roster. Son of Chris Chelios, Jake Chelios, will be apparently on the roster for China. This is going to be fun to break down these rosters. So,
where is he playing right now? What the hell?
Kunlun Red Star.
Oh,
of course.
Okay. So, for basic breakdown, for people who don't know, because I remember this was a thing. What the Chinese national development team has done there is they use Kunlun Red Star, the first and only KHL team in China, but plays out of Moscow because of reasons. Don't worry about it. Motherland does what motherland wants. They use that team as a development for the Chinese national program, and if you do play for the team, they will basically get you what is it when you national status to allow you to play for that team. Kind of not similar to how Nigel Dawes, one of the top scoring players in the KHL, is. He's Canadian born, Canadian Jamaican, but has national status to go play for Kazakhstan, and he's done that for years now, and he's like a KHL god.
The vast majority of the Chinese Olympic roster is made up by the Kunlun Red Star roster.
Yep.
So, again, that'll be fun to talk about on Friday. Also, on Saturday, the Avs beat the Habs. That's not a surprise. 3-2 in overtime. Shout out to Landeskog, hit his 15th of the year. The Devils beat the Hurricanes, though. Devils at 15-19-5 after this game. Again, the injuries just brutalized them this year, but again, they reclaimed Nathan Bastian on waivers after he ended up in Seattle. He had 2 goals. He's up to 8 now. Jack Hughes hit his 10th. So things aren't brutal for the Devils. I think the Devils, unfortunately, are just in that rough spot where you're like, okay, we're still a year or two away. But still reasons to be optimistic. Still some fun players to watch this year. The Rangers beat the Coyotes 7-3 on Saturday. Chris Kreider with a hat trick for his 29th of the year. For the Coyotes, the only real talking point is Clayton Keller. 15th of the year. I'm honestly surprised there aren't as many trade rumors. What are you doing?
We're getting to
the stealthy popcorn transition, huh?
Yeah, we're getting to the
done.
Interesting stuff. So that's why.
This is why you watch the video version on the Tougies Take Podcast YouTube channel. All the rumors for the Coyotes are surrounding Jake Chychrun. Yeah. And Like, even the Bruins name is being thrown around now, which, yes, please. Although, not for Jeremy Swayman. Stay the hell away. But, I don't know. Maybe Keller is the one guy they want to keep. He does have 6 years left at 715, so no matter how good he is, he might be untradeable.
Yeah.
He might be for that deal. But Clayton Keller's having a great season. The Washington Capitals beat the Ottawa Senators 3-2 in overtime. Ovi with 2 goals, up to 29 to tie Chris Kreider. They showed a graphic, though, at the beginning of the game showing Alex Ovechkin with 759 career goals and the entire Sens lineup having a combined 627. Like, just such an unnecessary flex, Like, poor Ottawa. Come on. It's a hilarious stat line. It really is, but oof. Just oof. And then I want to turn this over to you because on Saturday the Leafs beat the Islanders 3-1. This rivalry won't die, will it? Islanders fans will not stop chanting at John Tavares. I want this to be a playoff series desperately.
Yeah.
The problem is it's incredibly one-sided because it seems like the Leafs beat them every time.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Where's the lie?
Fair.
Yeah.
Also want to mention here, it was after this game, I do believe that it was announced that, one of the best goddamn hockey players of all time, the Clark Gillies, Islanders legend, had passed away. There's not too much that I can sit here and say to hype up a Hockey Hall of Famer, a 4-time Cup winner. Like, he was the captain of those Islanders teams. Like, this was an incredible, incredible hockey player. What I will recommend is Elliot Friedman's most recent 32 Thoughts. At the very bottom, there is essentially, I think it's a full podcast plugin just titled Remembering Clark Gillies. I listened to it earlier. I highly recommend you check it out. And again, for Islanders fans and just that organization, this is a major, major loss of a team legend. So I highly recommend checking that out. To get through these other games here, because why not? Preds beat the Red Wings 4-1 on Saturday. Matt Duchene with 2 goals. He's up to 19 on the year. Philip Forsberg hit his 20th. Matt Duchene, the first 99 card in Huts. Woo!
Now shut the fuck up about it and go back to just doing nothing. God, that was so fucking annoying. I'm glad that he got the 99 so we can shut the fuck up. Because for now it's like, yeah, man, like that was literal gambling. That was like you got away with the loot box shit, EA. You got away, but barely. You have to disclose it in Belgium now. Like, you have to do that now. But it is unreal how crazy the community went because of this hot card. It was like, think of like GameStop and that whole fiasco, but like on an even, like, I know Sin's gonna correct me like next, like on Friday or whatever. I don't care if it's not actually like that or related at all, but just like the idiocy of everyone just hyping up this one card and like, wow, meanwhile yelling about how the game sucks and like, yeah, but this card though, this big, like early stages of an NFT related item, this card, yeah, the stonks, it go up, number go hit 99. What happens after that? We do nothing. We yell at the game and say, oh, it sucks. Oh, she has 97 fighting.
You're not wrong with everything you just said. It is one of the smartest things that they do, though, for Hut, is the idea of letting you get invested into these guys doing well in real life. They do the same thing with the All-Star games and stuff like that. It's smart. It's just a shame that the game is, yeah.
Shit.
And it is what it is.
Yeah. Everyone, there was an update that came out like today for NHL.
Yeah, I think it's coming out on Thursday,
and
if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's Thursday. And people were complaining about the poking system. Like, oh, it's broken. Why can't you fix it? Why can't you fix it? Come on, do something. Move, shake it. Like, what I want people to understand is game develop. I'm not defending development whatsoever. I'm saying that game development itself is a beast. You could take out one small little thing that you don't think has any attachment to anything whatsoever, and then like everything else breaks. You could have a sound file that plays randomly, and you're trying to get rid of that, and then oops, there goes the ice. The ice is no longer there, and now players are just kind of like falling into a void. So for that people to try to make a hot fix to fix the pokey situation and try to change something and how the game's formulated post launch, that's not going to happen because it costs way too much time and resources to fix it right now when you could possibly rewrite the entire code again for the next game. That's the nature of game development. That's the beast that it is. Even then, something as deep down in there as like basic physical movement and interaction, it would be great to get that in there as soon as possible. But sometimes things break and you don't know how it breaks until it goes into the wild. And you can do as many peer tests as you want and all that, but that's it. That's all. That's how it is.
I will say as well, they added 2 changes to roster sharing in that patch. One, you can finally put numbers in the name of your roster file to put like V4 or V5 for the version.
You roster guys should have just absolutely praised it and been like, wow, I can count.
Oh my god, it's the best. The biggest thing though for offline players, they added the ability to a patch in December. They gave us the ability to edit the shoot pass bias of created players. They are now opening that up for every player in the game, which is awesome. So like for people who are super into franchise, obviously, like now we're going to be able to make sure that Connor McDavid shoots the puck and puts up a lot of points, that David Pastrnak doesn't play like a playmaker and shoots the damn thing. I'm going to be very intrigued to see if they change those numbers, or if we actually get to see it like, oh yeah, David Pastrnak passes 11 out of 15 times instead of shoots the puck. I'm very intrigued to see what those numbers look like.
This is more shit for you to get yelled at about, though. I have more shit to yell at them about in terms of like, oh, you have like Connor McDavid as a pass-only guy, and I wish that there was more access to more of the tuners in there, because this is now messing with individual player AI, and because obviously when that like every body on there has like a I want to say like a digital identifier, but for Leasler it's like that's that guy. Here's his stats. Here's that whatsoever. It seems like they're leaning into more of the slider based like mechanic stuff like you really like that was in 2K, and I think that you may have had a bigger influence in this, and I think you thought you did originally, where it's like, oh, we added the blocking and tendencies, now we have all tendencies. Thanks.
Shot pass sliders. I know.
Yeah.
We're getting there, boys.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We're getting there.
You're like, oh, can we get like a pass slider? Okay, you're pushing it. That's a little bit too much. Can we get one so that way, like goalies who are certain styles actually use that certain style? So if I have a butterfly goalie, he's actually using butterfly, and if he's of a hybrid, he's actually using a little bit of both. And if you have a stand up, he's not playing in the NHL. You know. If he's doing stand up, he's doing the mocap over at EA Burnaby. Jesus.
Have a better shot of being successful at actual stand up. That's the joke. Stand up goal.
That's stupid. The joke. Oh my god. You have to reassure yourself that's the joke that you made. No one's laughing. You're like, beautiful. That's the joke.
No, I'm saying it's like, that's the joke. Stand up. It's terrible. Not like, hey, please laugh. Please clap.
Please clap. Oh my god. Oh my god. When you told me earlier on a message about something else, it's like, oh yeah, this is over, so I can finally do this. And I sent you the picture of Jeb Bush with the map like that. So people don't know like the Jeb Bush meme. There's a meme where it's just like him winning.
Just look it up.
Just look it up. It's just it's the
better.
Best. Like you get like Jeb Bush, please clap. You'll get like a Glock where it says please clap on it, or you'll get like or you'll get this one, which is him like winning all the electoral votes with a golden US, and he's just like leaning back like this is mine.
Oh my God. Hockey, everybody. Hockey. Wild beat the Hawks because the Hawks suck ass. Alex DeBrincat scored his 24th, but he's not untouchable. Idiots. And then on Saturday, the Oilers beat the Calgary Flames 5-3 in the worst win in club history. As it'll maintain the status quo, nothing will change because, damn it, we beat Calgary. Evan Bouchard scored twice. Draisaitl scored twice. Who cares that we're 10-0 on the season when we score first? They've scored first in 15. This was a stat from Chris Johnson. They're 10-0 when scoring first. But in 15 of their last 16 games, they've given up the first goal. This team collapses mentally when they're trailing. But we're not going to change anything because we beat Calgary. Idiots.
I think they don't want to change anything because they know if they lose a game, they're going to have to pick up Evander Kane. They only won because they didn't want to have to pick up Evander. Oh my God, this is hilarious! Like
that's still gonna happen. Though.
That's still gonna happen. They can try. They can try all they want, but they can't avoid. That.
Last game, I wish somebody should have talked about this one from Saturday. The Lightning beat the Sharks 7-1.
Oh no!
The unfortunate news for the Sharks now: Erik Karlsson is going to be out until March after having surgery for a muscle tear in his left forearm. They're selling at the deadline. They have to. At this point, you lose Erik Karlsson. The Sharks are selling. They're 21-19-2. You're not going to have who is still arguably your best defenseman for like a month and a half. Sell if you're San Jose. And that creates some interesting set of circumstances. Again, Hurdles deals up at the end of the year. I am intrigued to see what they do. But I would imagine they will be sellers at this deadline and are probably going to be better off for it, especially if they can keep getting steals like William Eklund much further down the board than where he should be available.
Yeah.
Oh, man. God, freaking, I have no reaction to what you just responded to on Twitter. It's fine. On Sunday, we'll just breeze through these two. Penguins beat the Jets in a shootout. I'm going to steamroll you here. I'm steamrolling you. It's fine. Hockey. Shout out to Blake Wheeler, who scored his second goal of the year in 24 games. Who cares? What are the assists, though? Screw you, Sin. It's 17 assists, 19 points, 24 games. 2 goals for Blake Wheeler. Trash. The word of architect. Trash. Much like the Bills' clock management with 13 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Trash.
You see, I can dunk on them because I like a team just because they played in my city once. Okay.
God, I wasn't going to talk about football because Sin's not here, but God damn it, the Buffalo Bills blew it.
Yeah.
Oh, the referees and the rules are stupid. They are, but the Bills also blew it. I'm sorry, but they did. Mm-hmm. You blew it. God. Shout out to Crosby, who's closing in on 500 goals. Teddy Bluger took a high hit from Brendan Dillon in this game that fractured his jaw. That will result in Bluger being out for like 2 to 3 months. No call on the play, I do believe. Mm-hmm. Great job to the Department of Player Safety. And Jason Zucker is also out week to week. He's missed some games recently, too. So the Penguins continue to lose players and will continue to just grow back their limbs and continue to be a great team that makes the playoffs. They're 26-10-5, and they'll be just fine because Tristan Jarry has turned into an elite starter this year. So good for them.
Congrats. Oh, so there was no call because George Peros was too busy downvoting those videos still. He's on a roll. He can't stop, won't stop. Someone said Tougie's take sent me, and he's like, I hate them. He's done.
Oh, my God. I just love the idea of George Peros review bomber. Best episode title in the history of the show. Easily. We've had some good ones in the past, but that might be my favorite. God damn.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God. Other games. Sens beat the Blue Jackets. Meh. Kings beat the Devils. Meh. Kraken beat the Panthers because for some reason, again, teams like the Kraken can suck, but prove to just be tricky teams for really good teams to beat.
Yeah.
And the final game on Sunday kind of leads us to our next big talking point that I'm very happy to talk about here. As the St. Louis Blues beat the Vancouver Canucks 3-1. It was another Husso win. Jordan Kyrou got his 16th of the year against Michael DiPietro. So again, I don't know what the hell is going on with the Couv and their goaltending situation. The Canucks announced, and excuse me on the pronunciation here, of course, but Emily Castonguay. I'm sorry for not knowing how to pronounce your name. I'm a horrible American who doesn't speak French. But she was named Sacre Bleu.
There you go.
Oh, Carey Price, number 1 goaler.
And omelette du fromage, and you're okay.
Okay. What a way to just...
What? It's the meme. The Dexter's Lab.
She was named.
Okay, sorry.
She was named. This is a monumental moment, and we're doing this bullshit.
Dude.
This podcast. She was named the assistant general manager of the Vancouver Canucks. She becomes just the second woman in the history of the NHL to ever hold that position after Angela Gorgoni. I'm not sure. It depends on how Italian you are, Angela. But she held the same position with the Anaheim Ducks back in 96-97. First time in 25 years that a woman has held an assistant general manager spot. She is more than qualified. She was the only certified player agent that happens to be a woman. Again, the only woman certified as a player agent by the NHLPA, which is absurd.
Yeah.
She was the agent for Alexis Lafreniere, Marie-Philippe Poulin, Antoine Roussel, Jakob Pelletier, Cedric Paquette, P.O. and Matthew Joseph. Like, more than qualified. More than qualified, and a great move, a great story as well. I recommend everyone kind of read up some of the pieces that have been written on this signing. Great move for the Canucks. One of the things that happened on Twitter that I wasn't going to reference, we'll talk more about it when more of the details are known, but the Canucks have also named their new outright GM. So good for the Canucks for finally making some changes, and again, a great signing here that I think, again, you talk about women being interviewed for jobs in management, women getting these jobs, the PHF taking their big step forward. Obviously, again, the Olympics are coming up, which are going to be amazing for women's hockey. Mm-hmm. The NHL update that we talked about is adding in the women's teams as well. This is a wonderful time to be a fan of women's hockey.
Yeah.
And women in hockey, for that matter.
Respect women.
Respect women.
I remember I said at the no sleeves. He was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, respect women. He's like, "What's women?" I'm like, but it's a great time just in general for hockey. I'm all for more hockey. I'm all for increasing opportunities for people in hockey. Like the amount of people on the Canadian national team that are from the PHWPA, which play like 2-3 games like a month or whatever. Like the amount of people players from there is staggering. The amount of like interest in women's hockey now is bigger than ever, especially with the expansion of roster sizes and salaries and an investment put in their team. Like that's big. Shout out to a friend of mine. Was her? God, I can't remember her first name. It's Hoffman. Goaltender for the Toronto Six. From Six. Actually went to elementaries together.
Yeah, the edibles have been kicking in, everybody.
Yeah, they have been getting in. Tara Hoffman. Sorry, there we go. Tara Hoffman. Went to Yale, I think, for school there. Played goalie there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out. Congrats. You're getting paid. Can I borrow $5?
Hey, shout out as well. Talk about the PWHPA, the SDPN brought on.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that too. I remember there was something with Steve Dangle podcast, and that podcast too is, I can't wait to take a listen to it. I'm exhausted.
With Noxie and Cax, which I think is going to be really fun.
That's a cool name.
Even in the YouTube space too, like it was great.
Yeah.
God damn, like just stuff. Again, so much there. Speaking of the YouTube space too, congrats to Gravity as well, signing on with Sportsnet.
Yeah.
From a kid who used to watch me on Twitch, and now he's bigger and better than I could ever be, and I'm happy for it, to be honest. Like a lot of people are like, do you think that's weird? I'm like, no, it's fucking awesome. Are you kidding me? Like, goddamn.
Brandon is eating his words for sure. Yeah, good luck.
Well, that's the number one reason why I'm happy about it. You got Brandon Pruss sassing a kid on Twitter, and now the kid's like, "Yeah, I work at Sportsnet. What are you doing, you fucking loser?" He's too nice of a kid to ever say that, which is why he's on Sportsnet and I'm not, and I'm okay with that. It's delightful.
Oh man, he's got tons of energy too. I watched the video, and he's got the jazz hands going. I'm like, where am I supposed to look? Where am I supposed to look at you, the jersey, the icon? Like your hand just going up.
The stuff on the screen, the information. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah. God.
God. To wrap up this show, we'll talk about Monday really quickly too. The Ducks beat the Bruins 5-3. I want to play every Western team but the Ducks. Troy Terry scored his 23rd of the year because he's a god. Mm-hmm. David Pastrnak got his 20th. It was really a rough loss. Biggest thing for the Bruins coming out of this are just questions about Tuukka Rask. He's played 4 games now. He has a .428 goals against average and an .844 save percentage. Mm-hmm. He came back too soon. He did. He came back too soon. I hate to say it. I do, like, I'm not overly worried right now. I just think it is very unfortunate he wasn't able to get those warm-up games in with the Providence Bruins because he's not quite playing to the peak of his ability yet. And unfortunately for the Bruins, you have Ullmark and Swayman who are both playing really well. And it does hurt a little bit to take the time to allow Tuukka to get into form when, in theory, a team like, say, the Detroit Red Wings aren't horrifically far back.
Yeah. I think the big call that messed everything up was those games getting canceled with Providence. That would have been a good way for him to get back in his bearings on there. Like he played his first game, but after that, he was just exposed completely. Yeah. And there are certain things that, like, you haven't had like in-game action, because hockey is like the fastest sport that is still practice. Like in practice, you're still going game level speed, if not just like a notch lower. But nothing compares to playing against players that you don't play against every day, and having to adapt off of that after not playing in the NHL for, God, when was the last time he played? Like last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had the surgery after the end of the season,
right?
If I'm not mistaken.
And like coming back basically and having to adjust to being back where you're at, it takes time. Like full disclosure here again, Ontario is opening up hockey rinks again as of the 31st of January. I'm going to be on the ice and I'm going to be absolutely terrible. My edge work's going to be completely crap, and I'm probably not going to want to go against like a bunch of high level players if I can't like skate or move the way that I'm familiar with. Imagine that, but coming off of surgery and playing in the largest professional hockey league in, if not North America, the world. It's similar, but on different aspects. And maybe I think he did need more time to recover. And yeah.
As well for the Ducks, the NHL writers' caller voting was revealed so far. Trevor Zegras in first, Moritz Seider, and then Lucas Raymond as the top 3. Zegras has also been invited to take part in the breakaway challenge at the skills comp, which is great. I'm very much looking forward to that. Of course, we talked about how he should be there.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about Zegras right now being viewed as the favorites, because I feel like it's a little bit... Man, I don't know. Like, it just feels like it's the easy one to make, where it's like, hey, here's this next great American player. Whereas, okay, he's 3 points behind Lucas Raymond. Raymond's played 4 more games. But Moritz Seider only has 4 less. Moritz Seider's on a 50-point pace as a rookie defenseman at 20 years old, man. Playing top pair of minutes for the Detroit Red Wings. If Moritz Seider can't win the Calder, then we need 3 different Calder awards. If Moritz Seider at this pace, if this keeps up, he doesn't win it, we need 3 different Calders. Best forward, best defenseman, best goaltender. Because otherwise, it's just, when is it going to go to a defenseman again? Mm-hmm. And honestly, Endo, I'll ask you, do you recall the last time a defenseman won the Calder?
trying to think.
Think of like the best defenseman in the NHL right now.
Beyond Phaneuf.
Yes. So Cale Makar won it in the 1920 season.
Oh yeah, I was gonna. Oh, I can't remember. That was so recent. Shoot.
Cale Makar won it in the 1920 season.
Right.
Aaron Ekblad won it in 14-15. Tyler Myers in 2009-2010. And that's it. Since the 05 lockout, 3 defensemen have won the Calder. 1 goalie, that was Steve Mason, in 08-09.
Steve Mason. Oh,
I'm not saying that it's not likely, if not highly probable, that, yeah, the forwards of those rookie classes were all the best. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, Endo, your birth year again, because I think there have been 5, maybe 4. I think it's been 5 people for as long as you've been alive, defensemen, that have won the Calder. Something sketchy about that, you know?
Nice. Yeah. Way to reference my birth year. Make me feel young again. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a young man.
Yeah.
We'll be here a long, long time.
I hope so. Unless my back breaks from snow shoveling.
God, from putting this podcast on my back.
Yeah.
Oh my
boy.
God. All right. We have a couple of the games to talk about really quickly here to wrap up this show. The Flames beat the hell out of the St. Louis Blues 7-1. What the hell? You had the Vegas Golden Knights and Robin Leonard shut out the Washington Capitals 1-0 because the Golden Knights are still gross, even if they won't get Jack Eichel until the playoffs. The Minnesota Wild beat the Montreal Canadiens 8-2. Highlighted by the fact that Kirill Kaprizov now has 100 career points in 92 games, which is the fastest amount, least amount of games to hit 100 points in Wild history. But a stat came out for Cole Caufield. We just talked about the rookie race. Cole Caufield has 1 goal in 29 games. Remember when on this podcast we talked about how much of a mistake it was for them to call him back up from the Laval Rocket?
Yeah.
Boy, it turns out these podcasters know better than those in charge. Weird. Weird. I don't know. It's just it's weird how like everybody on Earth knows better than them. But here we go. Cole Caufield getting an NHL experience instead of tearing it up with Laval. It doesn't make any sense.
I would have applied for GM ownership of the Montreal Canadiens with that pick right there, but they won't take me because I'm black and because I'm not French speaking, even though I'm technically bilingual. I'm not French enough.
There you go.
Please clap. Please clap.
Please clap.
Please clap.
The Rangers beat the Kings 3-2 in a shootout. Chris Kreider scored his 30th of the year, NHL leading 30th of the year. What the hell? And for the Rangers as well, I saw the stat from Ryan Mead on Twitter. Since 2014, Igor Shesterkin has played 206 games of professional hockey. He is 142-38 in that time. 46-20 in the NHL combined. He is gross. He is disgusting. He is elite. He is amazing. One of those words can be used to describe Brendan Lemieux. I'll let you decide which one. He got 5 in a game for boarding Ryan Lindgren. I will be honest. I did not think it was that bad of a hit. As in, the intent. He intended to hit him. I don't think he intended to drive Ryan Lindgren's face into the glass the way he did. But as I've said 1,000 times on this podcast, it is not so much about intent sometimes as it is about the outcome. Right call, right penalty. I do think I hit with unfortunate circumstances. I don't know if Endo, if you saw the hit at all, but I wanted to give my thoughts on that.
I'm taking a look right now. There we go. Okay. Man, I'm looking at this video. I'm looking at the LA Kings with their their silver helmets, the bright, like the super like fluorescent essentially. And it takes me back to the casting for esports over in Europe, what you guys do and everything, how they play. They should bring like the whole like player of like top scorer thing back over esports for at least here for North America. It'd be cool. Have a little fun with it. Anyways, back to the hit. Holy, that was not needed like at all. Like what are you doing? Like I know you're trying to like finish a hit, but you go up high immediately. Like go for the stomach. I don't know, like the back. Even then, hitting from behind, like I get you're trying to finish your play, finish your check, but you just absolutely hit the guy on the numbers. Not needed.
It's Brendan Lemieux, man. It's almost what you come to expect from him. Again,
Brendan
his reputation
Lemieux,
precedes him.
there you go.
The Avalanche beat the Hawks 2-0. Franco's shutout. The Avs are 17-1-1 in their last 19 games and are number one in the league. At least they were at the time that stat was recorded. They have also now had the third most points from defenders through the first 40 games of a season in the last 30 years. So through 40 games, their defenders have combined for 132 points. Only the 92-93 Kings, who had 137, so 5 more points, had more. And the record, at least for this time frame, is 6 points. They're 6 points behind, so it's 138 points for the 92-93 Capitals, 137 for the 92-93 Kings, and then this Avs team, which is ridiculous if you think about how much the league has changed. What was in the water in 92-93, where defensemen were racking up so many points for these teams, I have no idea. And then the final thing to talk about here on this show, the Dallas Stars beat the Philadelphia Flyers 3-1. Wanted to shout out Joe Pavelski's 17th of the year. This was their 12th loss in a row. As of the time of recording, the New York Islanders have beaten the Philadelphia Flyers to hand them their 13th loss in a row.
Wow.
I will shout out Keith Yandel for breaking the NHL's Iron Man streak with 965 consecutive games played, and that is probably the only positive for the Flyers this year. They announced before this game that Mike Yeo was going to stay on as the interim head coach, and honestly, Endo, I say, why the hell not? They're not making the playoffs. They are a tire fire this season. You can't do any more damage, and at this point, start tanking, have fun trading Claude Giroux. Oof.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Flyers. I don't know.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
It used to be Philadelphia, but you cut off the part of the P. Now it's an F. Look at that.
I guess the L in Flyers should also be capitalized.
Yeah. Flyers. I don't know why I just with a PH. I don't know why I did that.
It's fine. Okay. It's fine. Everybody, we want to thank you very much for listening to this show. As Endo continued to fade throughout due to the extreme potency of patented Canadian edibles.
Edibus cannabis.
Yes. We will be back this Friday, though. Sin will be joining us here, of course. And again, we'll have our little Olympic breakdown and talk about everything that happens over the next couple of days. We'll wax poetic about the Brian Boyle goal that was scored tonight, and so much more. But again, Endo, thank you for being here. It was an interesting show. We made it through. You guys can find Endo on Twitter, on Twitch, Endo Mills, ENDO Mills. I am everywhere, of course, at Tougie24. And enjoy not seeing me while I have nothing to do but roster edit moving forward, because the EA NHL series keeps giving me more work to do. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Good night. Good day. Goodbye.